What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Protocol Pegasus here, and today we'll be going over my Pride of the Shadow build. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So if I open up my inventory here, the sidearm I am using is Pride of the Iskall. Attached onto it is the Vampiric mod, which is non-removable, of course. And then as my primary weapon, I am using the Ruin, with the weapon mod attached onto it, which is the Undying, which is non-removable. I'm using the Hero Sword as my melee-based weapon with the perk Energy Wave. Then from there, I am using, as followed for the armor set, I am using one Shadow Mask piece, and then I'm using 2 Chaos pieces. And if you don't know what these are, it's because I have skins attached onto them. This is the Akari set, so Akari helmet set, and then this is the Void-based set. So I'm using one helmet there, basically with the Opportunist perk attached onto it, and then I'm using the 2 arm pieces, which give me the power transfer perk attached onto it. From there, I'm using the Leto's Amulet, and then I'm using Alchemist Jewel and Compulsion Loop. From there, if I dive into traits here, one of the traits that I would probably recommend the most to make this build work as efficiently and effectively as possible is going to be Demolitionist, which increases explosion damage. The next one I'm going to recommend is Spirit, of course, for mod generation power. And then I'm going to recommend Treg, which increases healing efficiency by 100%. From there, we're going to go ahead and jump over into some gameplay. I'm going to show you guys some tips, tricks, as well as guides to fully utilize this build to its fullest potential. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into that. Oh, real quick, guys, I just want to let you know, it looks like 94% of you guys that do end up watching my content and happen to enjoy it are not subscribed. So just be sure to subscribe. From there, if you end up changing your mind, you can always unsubscribe later, but it just really helps me out. Thanks, guys. Alright, so we're here on ROM, we're playing on Nightmare mode. And from there, I jump right over into an elite fight I end up having. I'm swapping over to the Ruin to be able to focus this guy's head continuously to be able to burst off the mask. Once I go about doing so, I'm utilizing my sword to be able to kite him a little bit and keep him at bay from a distance. And then I swap over to the Pride of the Iskall. From there, I use the mod attached onto the Pride of the Iskall, which launches out the insects, which does dot damage over time. And then from there, I'm just going to kite him around a little bit while also sufficiently healing off that insect proc, which is really nice. I'm going to swap over to a dungeon here, and from there, we're going to head into the Aran Temple. I'm going to consistently keep up my consumables so that way I don't end up getting overrun, or if I do, I can manage it accordingly. I'm going to use the Ruin here to keep everyone at bay because the Ruin can actually stagger lock some of the enemies that you see here, even if it happens to be a headshot or not. From there, I'm going to consistently be able to dodge roll all these base projectiles because I am a lighter frame based set with some of the amulets I have attached onto it, which reduces my actual armor encumbrance, which is fantastic. From there, I'm going to utilize the Pride of the Iskall there to be able to AoE burst everything down, and then from there, push on forward without having to worry about too much ammunition being wasted. Even though I do use an ammunition crate. Now the reason I use an ammunition crate there is because it instantly reloads not only my primary weapon, but my secondary weapon as well. Which means I only have to go through one animation as opposed to 2. As you can see throughout the course of this video too, I proc a lot of consumables. Reason being for that is because I have the... Pretty much I don't want to get caught out, and I don't want to get overrun. And if that does happen to me, I know I have the consumables working off in the background, so that way I can handle any given situation that does approach me. So it makes it a lot more... I'll say a lot easier to approach in the long run. So from there, I'm going to push on with the Ruin. I'm going to proc my radiation consumable, so that way I get a 30% reduction, so I don't end up getting radiation applied to me, which will then reduce pretty much my stamina. Then from there, I'm going to go ahead and push forward, and I'm going to just use the boost of movement speed I have off of the Compulsion Loop, which just allows me to pretty much get increased movement speed every time I get a kill, so I just become super fast, and that does stack with the Adrenaline consumable. So from there, I'm just consistently running around, clearing out ads, and making my way to the boss pretty efficiently and effectively, which is really, really nice. From there, I'm going to keep pushing forward. Now, you do notice this crown on top of my head. If you don't know what that is from Ruin, from the Undying perk mod. Basically, it implies that I do have a... what you would call more or less like a second win. So if I do go down, I instantly become resurrected. So as long as I have that crown active, that means it is active and ready in case I do end up dying, automatically proc, and I am good to go. From there, I'm going to go ahead and use Pride of the Iskall here to be able to burst down some of my enemies, and from there it also ends up stagger locking them as well, because after it does the mini explosion, it applies enough damage to just be able to stagger. From there, I'm going to use the Hero Sword to be able to cleave down some of the smaller base adds. As long as I know they don't happen to explode, I'm more than comfortable getting in melee range of them, and I'm going to go ahead and keep kiting around, keep procking consumables, and then just keep dealing with whatever I heard behind me. As you can see there, for a split second, I did end up getting a white trail that was around me. The white trail procs from the Akari set. So basically, since I'm using the Akari helmet, I get this white trail that appears around me every time I get a perfect dodge. So when I get a perfect dodge, it increases my overall attack speed. And this works for my Ruin and my Pride of the Iskall. So I just I just attack, a lot faster. And it works really well in the Ruin to just be able to apply a lot of burst damage. So I'm going to go ahead and hide behind this pillar and just proc a bunch of consumables, and then from there I'm just going to keep pushing forward. So that way I end up getting my health back, I end up increasing my damage, my mobility, and just keep moving on accordingly. Now, even though I do have the dying perk active from the Ruin, which means if I die I come back to life, I don't want to use it unless I get into a really sticky situation, because of the fact that it has a very, very long cooldown. So that's why you see me procking a bunch of consumables, utilizing Dragon Hearts, in case things get in a little bit tighter spots. Just because of the fact that if I do end up getting caught out, or I end up screwing up, or whatever the case down the line, I end up having the ability to come back to life and not worry about it in the long run, just because I have that ability. But the cooldown is anywhere between like 5 to 8 minutes or so, which is really tedious. But they did that because of like balance changes, which makes sense. I'm going to keep pushing on forward, and then from there I'm just going to go ahead and keep clearing out the edge. Since it is a tight corridor here, I end up using Pride of the Iskall and using my consumable here to just keep laying into them. And with the increased attack speed, I can apply more and more dots to the actual target, and then I can just clear them out in the tight corridor. The Pride of the Iskall is fantastic for clearing out adds. So I'm going to go ahead and kite around here, and I'm just going to use the Ruin to be able to get some nice burst headshots, and I'm going to pick up a trinkets, which I had already had, and then I'm going to push on forward into the boss room. So I'm going to transition right over to that momentarily. There we go. From there, I am primarily focused on the melee boss here because he's going to give me the most trouble, and then I'm just going to go ahead and consistently keep him at bay with the Ruin. When he gets a little bit closer, I'm just going to swap over to Pride of the Iskall to get self-healing, and then they're going to drop this dome here. I'm going to back up a little bit because I know this is usually the phase where all the ads happen to come out, so I just want to wait for the ads to end up rushing me, and then I'm just going to go ahead and clear them out, and then I'll take care of them accordingly. As you can see, I do get pretty low here, so I'm just going to use my increased mobility, just be able to dodge roll out, and from there I'm just going to use a Dragon Heart, and I'm going to go ahead and push on forward. I proc irradiation removal, so I don't end up getting completely irradiated, and then I just keep pushing on forward here into the actual dome. Reason being for this is because they were taking forever for this to drop. I know I get irradiated from it, which reduces my stamina by 50, but at that point I really don't care. I just want to burst this down as quickly as possible, so I'm going to use Pride of the Iskall, which is going to deal damage to both of them, and then from there it's going to break them out of that trance, and then I can literally just keep mowing them down when the melee guy comes closest to me, and I'm going to worry about him. I'm going to make sure I preemptively proc my heal, so that way the increased damage I am taking from the range guy, because his aim is impeccable. From there, I'm just going to go ahead and get the self-healing from that. And I know I'm still irradiated, but I'm not going to worry about it as of right now because it only reduces my stamina by 50, but I still have plenty of it to play around with. I just got to be cautious of that. From there, they're going to go ahead and do the little stance once again. I'm going to go ahead and drink up, take all my consumables, and then I'm going to deal with the ads accordingly. What's awesome about this build is that since it is a heavier armor set, because I'm using the Leto's Amulet, it actually makes it into a light base armor set, meaning that I have so much mobility to be able to move around and dodge. And once again, like I said before, because I get a perfect dodge, I can proc the Akari set, which allows me to get the increased attack speed, which is so nice. And from there too, because it is still technically a heavy set, I get the armor value increase from the heavy set. So I get the armor value of a heavy set, but I also get the movement speed from a light set. So it's super, super nice. I don't have to really worry about taking too much damage or being able to not take 1 or 2 hits because I am pretty tanky, but still being super mobile. So this build is awesome for base speed runs, and plus it just looks fantastic. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and block radiation removal, and then from there, I'm going to get rid of that irradiated so I get my full stamina back. And I'm just going to clear out those ads accordingly with Ruin. And then I'm going to backpedal a little bit here, and then I believe I'm going to go ahead and try to kite this guy a little bit, burst him down from the pillar, so that way I don't have to worry about dealing with his stupid projectiles. But once again, he still shoots the stupid projectiles at me. I'm going to use Pride of the Iskall to be able to get the self-healing back, and then I'm just going to keep kiting around. What's awesome about this here, too, with the Pride of the Iskall is that you see I shoot the floor. The reason being that I end up shooting the floor is because of the fact that I end up getting the AoE explosion, regardless if I hit the target or not. So from there, since they're jumping at me, I know that the floor is going to be an easier target to hit that they happen to be jumping at. So from there, it's going to explode, stagger them, and then I can deal with them accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and use my self-heal real quick, and then from there I'm just going to keep applying damage. I get my full health back from doing so, and then I'm going to keep walking away. What's really cool too about the self-heal is that you can preemptively use it because it does have a few seconds before it ends up returning. So I usually want to preemptively utilize a lot of my self-healing capabilities pretty quickly, as opposed to waiting out until I need it, because then from there I just get a lot more sustain in the long run, and it just makes more sense. And if I end up getting caught out, I know that I have a heal coming my way, and I'm not really too concerned about it. And even not, then from there I can still position accordingly and just turn the tide of a fight rather quickly. So I see that it happens to be almost dead. I'm going to keep playing a little bit more cautiously because I don't want to end up screwing this up. So I play from a little bit of a distance here with my scope. The only problem is with scoping in, he ends up taking free pot shots at me, so I realize that is a bad idea right off the bat. I end up swapping out and backpedaling a little bit to go about dealing with the ad phase, and then from there I'm still consistently dealing with the base ad phase, so I just want to make sure that I am kiting around accordingly, and then I'm just going to go ahead and deal with these guys, and then focus down the boss. But even if I did go down there, I still had the Undying perk, so I really wasn't too worried about it, so everything was pretty effective in the long run. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole run of it. Alright guys, and that is pretty much it for the video. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments, you can post them right down below. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out, and make sure you hit the bell to get latest and greatest updates on all my future content coming to the channel. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys have a really awesome day, and I hope to see you real soon. Later.